Today, we got a bunch of LEGO Star Wars 2026 leaks. This is the biggest day for LEGO Star Wars leaks probably since June when all of the August 2025 sets leaked. So we have most of the January 2026 sets, especially all of the smaller priced playsets, which most of this wave is smaller priced playsets. I'm not sure what other sets are still remaining for January, if that will include the Smart Brick, TIE Advance, and X-Wing, or if that's in March. I've seen conflicting sources around the release date for those two sets in particular, but all of these sets leaked, and unfortunately, I can't show the direct images. I don't want to get in trouble here on YouTube showing all those images, but I'll basically give you the rundown on each set. And we have 5 sets that leaked today, so this is some very interesting news, and there are definitely some things to talk about with these sets that we didn't quite know before. First of all, we have the most underwhelming leak, the Grogu set. It's $20. It was supposed to be like a Grogu's homestead or something like that, but instead it's just like this little buildable Grogu with a pram build, as well as this weird play feature that looks like a frog that can shoot little parts out from his mouth, maybe? Is that what's happening? I'm not sure. It looks like a tiny little catapult build, and then this little buildable Grogu for 20 bucks. Supposedly that might be a 4+ set. Not too sure, but it definitely looks like a 4+ set. And, you know, it doesn't look like the worst priced 4+ set we've ever seen, but also it's just so unnecessary. Do we really need another buildable Grogu type of set? I don't think so, especially considering one of the other sets we are getting this wave, which is much better for kids in my opinion. But next up we have the $15 Shock Trooper mech, and there were some theories around this set, you know, whether it may be an ARC Trooper 5's mech, because we got that weird ARC Trooper 5's head leak as well not too long ago, but this is indeed a Shock Trooper mech for $15, and I think it does actually look pretty good for a Shock Trooper mech. I'm not sure why you'd really buy many of these sets, because Shock Troopers are much more affordable if you get the now $24 on sale Clone Trooper and Droid Battle Pack. But regardless, it's still cool. LEGO is making prequel era mech sets. I hope that goes to characters we don't have in LEGO currently, like, I don't know, Kit Fisto mech, Commander Wolf, anything to give us some more minifigs, similar to the Microfighter lineup, kind of. I'd prefer Microfighters because they're usually a little bit cheaper, but I guess $15 still works. And then next up we have the $10 Mandalorian and Grogu set, the Mandalorian Speeder, and like I thought it would be, it's just a, you know, a nice small Mandalorian speeder build with a little spot for Grogu on the side. You put Mando's blaster in the back, clip it on, and it looks like it is going to be that UCS Mandalorian minifigure. It looks like he has arm printing, so I think that's what it's going to be. We'll have to wait and see. These are preliminary images, so not everything on these images is exactly final, as I'll mention with some other sets on this list, but I'm actually really excited for this set because it looks like it'll be a really nice Mandalorian minifig that wasn't available in cheaper price sets. Sorry for everyone who bought the UCS Razor Crest, but realistically, it is a good thing for anyone who didn't, even though, you know, I don't know if that's the right move by LEGO to do that. It's like a little slap in the face of fans who bought the UCS Razor Crest, but as someone who didn't, I do feel happy with that. I have to admit, I am super glad I'll be able to get a $10 set, and I think $10 sets like this are a huge gap that needs to be filled in the LEGO Star Wars space. So many sets are so expensive nowadays. All the different 18+ sets, and any play sets we do get seem to be super overpriced, so I think it's really nice to be bringing back these $10 to $15 LEGO Star Wars play sets, and I'm so glad we're getting some in January 2026. Next up, we have the $23 Mandalorian versus 332nd Battle Pack, and I am actually pretty satisfied with the builds, I'd say, from what I can see. It looks like the Clone Trooper side of things, you get a nice barricade build, kind of like the underground Mandalorian, I guess above ground too, you see in the battle on Mandalore some barricade builds with the Clone Troopers and Mandalorians alike. So I think that was a really nice choice for the clone side of things. We definitely didn't need another Bark Speeder or Swamp Speeder or anything like that. So I think that was a really good decision. And for the Mandalorian side of things, of course, we're getting that classic Mandalorian Combat Speeder-esque thing. Obviously, a scaled down version compared to the last one we got years and years ago in 2012 or 2013, because this is a, you know, battle pack build. It's a $23 battle pack, so there isn't necessarily a ton of pieces to dedicate to that build alone. But I think for the scale of the build, it looks tiled off, it looks smooth. Very basic. You know, maybe it could use a couple extra parts from what I can see from these preliminary images, but I still think LEGO did a decent job, all things considered, and I'm not, you know, too upset with what we see. Obviously, with these Mandalorian minifigs, the silver visor print, I'm not super high on, and you guys know my thoughts on that. I had a kind of a controversial opinion, it seems. A lot of people actually like the silver print on the Mandalorian helmets, which I don't, you know, I understand why you might like them and find them cool. I personally just don't want all of my Mandalorians with silver print on the helmet. That's where I stand on it. Anyway, moving on to the final set of the video, we have the Cobb Vanth Speeder. Now, I was kind of curious how many minifigs this set would have. We were sure it would have Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane, of course, but I was wondering, is this some sort of like, you know, just play set where they're going to put different Book of Boba Fett minifigs in? I thought maybe we'd see a Boba Fett minifig in this set as well, but for the preliminary images, all we see are Cobb Vanth and Cad Bane. And zooming in on Cad Bane here, again, these minifigs are preliminary. Even the Death Watch Mandalorians didn't look final, so I can't say for certain, but this Cad Bane looks very, very similar to the Bad Batch variant we saw in the Justifier. I really hope it's not the exact same minifig and we get some extra like accurate details printed on, because the Book of Boba Fett versus Bad Batch Cad Banes look very, very different in terms of what they're wearing on their torso and legs. So I hope we do see that difference in accuracy in printing. If we don't, I'm going to be kind of disappointed, because that's one of the big things I was looking forward to, was a nice, affordable Book of Boba Fett Cad Bane minifig. And if we don't see that, that's going to be a little disappointing for me. But regardless what happens there, we are getting a good Cobb Vanth minifig. It looks like there won't be arm printing on him, but he has Boba Fett's armor on his torso. His legs are brown. He has some sort of red cloth. His hair looks all right for what it is. You know, it's hard to see. The preliminary images are not super high quality, so when I zoom in, I can't quite see some of the like exact details. And of course, these are all preliminary, so you have to take everything you see in these images with a big grain of salt, especially the minifigs. The minifigs are often placeholders, or different things are happening with them where you can't fully trust them in these preliminary images ever. So yeah, with that being said, that's going to be every LEGO Star Wars January 2026 set that was leaked. 5 wonderful sets. I'm honestly a big fan of 3 out of 5 of these sets, which is definitely saying something. I'm not a huge fan of the Grogu $20 set, only $15 Clone Trooper mech, but the $10 Mando play set, the $23 Battle Pack, although I wish it was $20, and the Cad Bane vs. Cobb Vanth set, I'm honestly pretty high on. I really love that we're moving towards more affordable play sets for LEGO Star Wars. I think that's a huge thing that LEGO has to not stop doing. I feel like we lost that for a while, and we need to come back to that. You know, LEGO, I know you like your profits, but think about the kids. The kids are what started your company and started the success in your company. Can't forget about the kids. And I'm sure adults don't mind the more affordable sets either. I sure don't. But that being said, let me know in the comments down below what you think of all these leaks. If you, can't find these images online somewhere, I'm sure if you look all over the internet and scour the internet, do a Google search, whatever, you can find them and follow along as I went along in the video and talked about them. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments below. Leave a like on today's video if y'all did enjoy. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Have an amazing day. Peace out.